So hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me back up on the banks of the beautiful River Ribble and we're in search of silvers on the stick float. So before we do get into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody that subscribes to the channel, enjoys the videos and logs in every Friday to watch the videos on the channel. It really is appreciated, and thank you to everybody that shows the channel such support. As you can see on screen now, it's a beautiful morning to be on the bank, a blood red sky. There's a bit of a downstream wind, but there's plenty of fish topping. The river really low, as you can see now, you can see the rocks, but hopefully we can get one or two fish on the bank. When you're on the banks of this beautiful river with mornings like today, the water like glass, that red sky, how can you not be a happy angler? It is a beautiful place to wet a line, and why I come up to the banks of the River Ribble so much. So looking at the venue, you can see there's one or two fish topping quite far over. There is a bit of a downstream wind, and a nice fish has just topped in the middle of the river, so there is a few fish about. Looking at the swim, you can see got a bit of pace just off the rod tip, and we've got some faster pace further out, so we've got options. I can hear Mr. Kingfisher about, so he's obviously up nice and early. We're beautifully set up in the water. I'm on my box today, nice and comfy. Got everything to hand. Quickly go over the bait. I've got plenty of that Hinders hemp, but I've soaked it in a bit of the almond today, and got plenty of red maggot. Nice simple tactics. You can see me 17-foot rod in the edge, set up from last week. We've got a nice light 0.8 gram fine line afloat, and then the strung out shotting pattern. I'm going to start nice and easy like that. I know it is quite deep here, but these fish topping all the way down the glide. My uncle's downstream, so tactics wise, we're going to start nice and easy, and we'll only go hard if we have to. But how can you not be happy for a morning like that? That is why I go fishing, for mornings like today. So the first cast of the day, and what a beautiful morning to be on the bank. They are the mornings that you live for as anglers. There's a nice slack on the inside on the back of this tree, and it just drops off the edge. We are only on a light float at the moment, you know, 0.8 gram, which is about what, 5 or 6, 7 number 4 maybe, so not too heavy. I'm just going to edge that bait through. You can see there's one or two fish in the swim, and so in these early stages it's just about working that line out, you know, where the snags are, where you're going to catch bottom. It's a very rocky area, you can see down here, so there's going to be big boulders out there that we're going to have to navigate. You might need to move over to a bit of a heavier rig just to get the bait down. There isn't much power in the river, but we need that rig to obviously be settling. We want that float settling when we get into that zone. You can see there's fish further out. Feed them maggots into the swim and that hemp, and there we go. That's where we want to be getting them ideally, just nice and bit downstream. That beautiful sun coming over the hill, and the first fish of the day. So the first fish of the day, and like I say on the blog, it's just about getting bites to begin with. There's plenty of quality fish topping, so I'm hoping that we can attract some of them in. But to begin with, it's just about finding your line and getting a bite. So again, being nice and positive, you know, with that bait, that hemp going in. Just trying to go on the outside of that slack. You can see Mr. Farmer's woken up. And it does shallow up on this inside quite a lot, so it's already saying to me that we just might need to stay on the outside a little bit. There we go. That's a better quality fish. That's a lovely fish, that. And apologies for the noise from Mr. Farmer, but he's up like us anglers nice and early, and I'm proper made up with that. It's a nice roach. A good start to the session. Again, just flicking that bit further out. I'm holding it back a little bit just so that float can settle. Feeding the maggots just over an area. Be nice and positive with that hemp. I'm going to try and just keep them down the swim, so it's going to give me time for that float to settle. There we go. It is taking a while to settle that float, but while we're getting bites, I'm going to stick with it. And there we go. It's a beautiful distance down the swim and another quality fish. That's why I'm reluctant to change that setup, because it is giving me the presentation that I want. I want that slow fall of a bait going through. We've got that light hook link on. And that is why early season I'm really mobile with my fishing, trying all areas of the river. The fish are spread out, and that's probably better than the fish that we had last week quality wise. So having just got in one hell of a tangle, I've took it as a sign. I've changed over now to a reverse shotting pattern, so 1 number 4, 2 number 4, 3, 4 and 5, and a 1.6 gram float. In that bottom bit of the rig like that, so you're going to get that. Hopefully the float settling quicker, that nice arc when you hold back. I'm going to try and stay on that same type of line that I was on before. You see already that float is settling in front of me. And these were the bites that we were missing. The float was going down and just wasn't settling. There we go, that float settling much quicker. We've got more control, and hopefully we can keep getting bites. I am always reluctant to change when you are getting bites, but I think with experience you kind of know when you're getting it wrong. That's a little chublet. There we go. See there, just holding that float back on the outside, and that has made me up that, because that's quality as well coming on that new rig, which I was worried about losing by losing that sensitivity, but no, it's a quality rope. And that orange eye and silver flanks of a roach take some beating. And again, just a bit further downstream, so them maggots where they're hitting the bottom, and a bit further down the swim is buried with another one of these quality roach. That sun straight in my face, but I keep expecting Mr. Pike to come up and get one of these fish, but we're getting plenty of bites. And that sun playing havoc with filming at the moment, so I've stopped with the GoPro for a bit. It just settles down, but in plenty of bites just on the outside of that slack. Little dumpy little roach. There we go, just coming to the end of that slack. The float buried. And giving us two options. We're going a little bit further out, we get a chance of a bite, and then when it comes in, we're on that slightly on the outside of the slack line. We're getting 2 bites of the cherry. See there, it's beautiful. Now when you work it out, you get all your bites in the same area. That excitement does build as you get down to that bit of the swim where you're getting your bites. See, my uncle's just playing a fish downstream, so can you beat it? Beautiful setting, 2 mates, bankside, getting bites. Oh, and I was saying about a pike, the bites had just gone a bit funny. Yeah, Mr. Pike has just absolutely nailed the fish, and I hope I've got that on camera. So I never get too carried away when a pike takes it. One were only on a light hook link, and they either let go or normally bite it off. It's very rare you get them in. So sometimes in work you sit there and think it's not your day, and then you think it could be worse. You could be a dace, and you see there he's going to carry the hallmarks of a eventful morning. Hopefully I got it on camera, but it's going to make a mess of the swim. Just sat in that slack. Taking about 5 or 6 trots through to get the next bite. And that is the impact really that pike do have. But I'm going to say, do feature them on the channel quite a bit, and we will be out soon for them. We get this guy in before he becomes breakfast as well. I say it every year, I'm going to bring a pike rod with me, and there's no excuse really. So I think this year I'm going to make a rod up, and I'm going to carry it with me. I'm going to take a pike rod each time and just put a bait out, and let's see over the course of a year what we get. So I've just ducked into my first slightly better one, and this will tell you whether Mr. Pike's still about. So you normally just pick off the better quality ones. Been a lot of minnows in the swim for a bit, and it's taken an age to try and get 1 or 2 fish back. But eventually we've got into a better stamp roach. Eventually that floater's buried with a much better fish, and feels like it's just gone solid again. And I think it's either got on a snag or Mr. Pike has had his breakfast again. It's just gone solid on the way in, and I've got a feeling it's going to be an everlasting battle today with Mr. Pike. It's going to be very hard to get much quality in the swim if we've got a pike like this about. Could be the same one, you never know, but every time we get a fish with any quality, you know, Mr. Pike's having his breakfast, and there you go, he's bit you off. And it's very difficult when you're trying to work a swim with pike about. It's taken probably 10, 15, 20 minutes to get the first fish that's better than maybe a minnow size, and it feels like all the time the swim is just being reset. But that is the challenges that you face on a wild river, and we wouldn't have it any other way. But definitely going to start bringing that pike rod with me. And there's times where it just isn't fun. Took about an hour. I've done a live stream on Facebook. It's taken an hour to get some quality to come back, and if anyone was in that live stream, you'd know how hard it was. The first better quality fish, and solid. And Mr. Pike back on the case. I say, you got to get very lucky to get him out. He's just down there somewhere, just chomping away. And I'm sorry there's not much more action on the blog, and hopefully we can try and get one of them in, but there isn't really much you can do. You know, 9 times out of 10 they just bite it off or let go. On a tiny size 20 hook, you just got to hope that it hooks the pike. But I say, somewhere in the middle of the River Ribble out there is a pike thinking, why is this roach fighting back so hard? We'll do our best to get it in. And on the live stream we just did on Facebook, one of the guys said, you know, use your drag on your reel to play it. Sadly, teeth versus £2 line, there's normally only one winner. And he was out in the middle of the river, him, so hopefully he's disappeared, but he's taken an age to get the fish back. Like I said, the first better one we've hit, straight away a pike on it. And so the process of building the swim starts again. And you'll only know when you hook a better quality fish if he's disappeared. Another quality fish and another hook link needed. Definitely one hungry pike down there today, or maybe 2. But as soon as you hook them and bring them in, it's solid, no matter how hard you try and get their heads up. As soon as you hit into the fish, seconds later it's solid. The clear conditions are not helping, obviously. Good visibility for the pike. But yeah, very frustrating. And how a swim can change, eh? From them lovely roach to small days. Just can't get a bite on the inside now. I've tried getting them back and moving further out into the river now. But every time I hook a decent fish, a pike takes it. I must be up to about 5 or 6 that I've hooked now. Towards the end of the session, a few more of these roach have moved in. You just see the lovely colours they have on the ribble, that orange eye and almost golden gill. There'll be most definitely better quality to come during winter. It's been hard work, but it's been enjoyable. Anyone was wondering whether Mr. Pike was still about. We're right at the very end of the session now. Hooked into a slightly better fish, and straight away pike. Whether it's the same one I don't know, but as soon as you hook a better fish, and there we go. That, you know, it can be frustrating at times, and that's how it's been. Literally bit me through. So towards the end of the session, that pike kept on coming back. As you can see on screen now, a proper bend in the rod, and on one occasion I did actually think we were going to get it in because it was on for quite some time. As you can see from the final net, Plenty of bites, a little bit of quality early on, but most of the quality sadly was ate by Mr. Pike. So today's been a tough day on the bank. That pike really did ruin the fishing and it kept on coming back all the time. But what a beautiful morning we were treated to. All that remains now is to thank you all very much for watching the video. Tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight line.